You've been told the best way to fertilize your crops, but what if all that advice is wrong? Forget everything you thought you knew about plant nutrition. We're uncovering the unconventional truth that could be the missing link to your most prolific and healthy harvest ever. While commercial fertilizers dominate garden centers and agricultural advice, there's a centuries-old secret hiding in your kitchen pantry that can revolutionize your growing success. Welcome to the world of yeast fertilizer, where the same microorganisms that make your bread rise and your wine ferment can transform your garden into a thriving paradise. This isn't just another gardening trend or internet myth. This is science-backed, time-tested plant nutrition that gardeners across the globe are rediscovering with stunning results. The power of yeast fertilizer lies in understanding what these remarkable microorganisms actually do for your soil ecosystem. When you introduce active yeast into your garden, you're not just adding nutrients, you're kickstarting an entire biological revolution beneath the surface. Yeast cells contain an impressive array of essential nutrients that plants crave, including readily available forms of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, along with crucial trace elements like magnesium, calcium, and zinc. But here's where it gets truly fascinating. As yeast cells multiply and eventually die off in your soil, they release these nutrients in a slow, controlled manner that plants can absorb efficiently. Unlike synthetic fertilizers that often create nutrient spikes followed by deficiencies, yeast fertilizer provides a steady, organic release that mirrors how plants naturally access nutrition in forest ecosystems. The fermentation process that occurs when yeast meets sugar creates beneficial byproducts including amino acids, enzymes, and organic acids that enhance soil chemistry in ways that traditional fertilizers simply cannot match. One of yeast fertilizer's most remarkable benefits is its ability to dramatically improve soil structure, creating the perfect environment for explosive plant growth. When yeast organisms work through your soil, they produce natural polysaccharides that act like tiny biological glues, binding soil particles together into stable aggregates. This process creates what soil scientists call good soil structure, the holy grail of healthy growing medium. This improved structure enhances soil porosity, creating more space for air and water movement while simultaneously increasing the soil's water-holding capacity. Your plant's roots can now penetrate deeper and spread wider, accessing nutrients and moisture from a much larger soil volume. The result is stronger, more resilient plants with extensive root systems that can support vigorous top growth. The biological activity stimulated by yeast also increases the population of beneficial soil microorganisms, creating a thriving underground ecosystem that continuously works to improve growing conditions. These microbes form symbiotic relationships with plant roots, helping them access nutrients that would otherwise remain locked in the soil. Perhaps one of the most valuable aspects of yeast fertilizer is its natural disease-suppressing properties. Active yeast colonies in your soil create an environment that's hostile to many plant pathogens, particularly harmful bacteria and fungi that cause root rot, damping off, and other devastating plant diseases. Yeast accomplishes this through multiple mechanisms. First, it competes directly with harmful microorganisms for resources, essentially crowding them out of the soil ecosystem. Second, yeast produces natural antimicrobial compounds during fermentation that actively inhibit the growth of plant pathogens. Third, by improving overall soil health and plant vigor, yeast fertilizer helps your plants develop stronger natural disease resistance. This biological protection is particularly valuable for organic gardeners who want to avoid synthetic fungicides and bactericides. Regular applications of yeast fertilizer can significantly reduce disease pressure in your garden, leading to healthier plants and better harvests without relying on chemical interventions. Creating your own yeast fertilizer is surprisingly simple, requiring just 3 basic ingredients you likely already have at home. The process mirrors bread making, but instead of creating dough, you're brewing a nutritious plant tonic that will energize every corner of your garden. Start with 1 packet or 1 tablespoon of active dry yeast, which you'll combine with 1 tablespoon of sugar in a cup of warm water. The water temperature is crucial here. It should feel comfortably warm to your touch, around 100 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Too hot, and you'll kill the yeast. Too cool, and activation will be sluggish. Allow this mixture to sit for 10 to 15 minutes until it becomes frothy and aromatic, indicating that the yeast is actively multiplying and consuming the sugar. This activated yeast starter is then diluted in 1 gallon of room temperature water to create your finished fertilizer. The dilution is important because concentrated yeast solution can be too strong for plant roots and may actually inhibit growth. For best results, use your yeast fertilizer within 24 hours of preparation. The living microorganisms are most active and beneficial when fresh, and the nutrient profile is at its peak during this window. The versatility of yeast fertilizer allows you to customize your application method based on your garden's specific needs and your plant's growth stage. For established plants, soil drenching is the most effective approach. Apply the diluted yeast solution directly to the soil around your plant's root zones, using approximately 1 cup per square foot of growing area. Timing your application strategically can amplify the benefits dramatically. Apply yeast fertilizer early in the growing season when plants are establishing their root systems, again during periods of active growth, and finally when plants are setting fruit or flowers. This schedule aligns with plants' natural nutrient demands and maximizes the fertilizer's effectiveness. For seedlings and transplants, a lighter application helps establish strong root systems without overwhelming young plants. Dilute your standard yeast fertilizer by half and apply it gently around the base of seedlings every 2 weeks during their first month in the garden. Container gardeners can particularly benefit from yeast fertilizer since potted plants often struggle with nutrient depletion and poor soil biology. Regular applications every 3 to 4 weeks can really transform container growing success, leading to more vigorous plants and extended harvest periods. To truly triple your garden's growth with yeast fertilizer, combine it with complementary organic practices that create synergistic effects. Mulching around your plants after yeast fertilizer application helps retain moisture and creates the perfect environment for continued yeast activity in the soil. Organic mulches also provide additional food sources for the soil microorganisms that yeast helps establish. Consider the timing of your yeast fertilizer applications in relation to watering and weather conditions. It's best to apply it when soil moisture levels are adequate but not waterlogged, and you'll want to avoid application immediately before heavy rains that might wash away the beneficial microorganisms before they can establish in your soil. Monitor your plant's response to yeast fertilizer applications by observing leaf color, growth rate, and overall plant vigor. Most gardeners notice improvements within 2 to 3 weeks of their first application, with continued benefits building over subsequent applications throughout the growing season. The beauty of yeast fertilizer lies not just in its effectiveness, but in its sustainability and cost-effectiveness. For the price of a single commercial fertilizer application, you can make dozens of yeast fertilizer treatments, all while avoiding synthetic chemicals and supporting your soil's natural biological processes. Ready to revolutionize your garden with this powerful homemade fertilizer? Start your yeast fertilizer experiment today and watch your plants respond with unprecedented vigor and productivity. Don't forget to subscribe to Smart Garden for more game-changing organic gardening secrets, and share this guide with fellow gardeners who are ready to discover the transformative power of yeast fertilizer. Your most abundant harvest is just one application away.